Hi, my name is Daudi Mugabi and this is Business Mike episode 30. My guest today is Ron Kawamara. He's the managing director of an online food delivery website called Hello Food in Uganda. In this episode, Ron shares his experience at Hello Food as well as the growing e-commerce opportunities in Uganda. All this and more next on Business Mike. Welcome to Business Mike. Ron, could you briefly tell us about yourself and what it is that you do?
Thank you. My name is Ron Kawamara and I am the Managing Director of Hello Food Uganda.
Right, and how did you get to this role? What were you doing prior to this role and how did you transition to where you are right now?
Before this, I was working for a startup company in San Francisco, and our job was to help other startup companies, especially in the high-tech industry, find and recruit scientists who are willing to work for equity in the company. So many times small companies, even the big ones like Google, or at one time were very small companies. And what they do is they don't have money to pay very expensive computer engineers and software engineers. So they find people who would work for equity in the company, for a stake in the company. And my job was to find those people.
So how did you come to work with Hello Food?
So after I finished that, I was actually finishing my master's at Oxford. That's when I met the investors who were doing this in Uganda, and we shared the ideas they wanted to do with the project. Obviously, with the investors, we have MTN now and Millicom and Rocket Internet. In this case, I met some Rocket Internet investors. And I agreed to run their project in Uganda. And I came here right after my graduation. I was on the plane coming to Kampala to do this.
So could you tell us a bit more about Hello Food? It's a brand I've seen in town. I've seen the banners everywhere. And I've always been curious as to what happens behind the scenes. So could you give us a little peek behind the curtain? What happens behind what we see?
Well, Hello Food is an online platform that's a website and a phone app that allows people to order from all the restaurants we have in Kampala. In Kampala, we work with 150 restaurants. In Entebbe, we work with 15. And so on the app, you look at the menus of all these restaurants and you select what you want to order, and the restaurant or the Hello Food delivers to your door or to your office. Now, the trick is actually you pay the same price as you'd pay in the restaurant. So the price is the same, which is why Hello Food is quite good and has done very well in Kampala, is that the price is the same. I would say that for Hello Food, what we offer and what we sell is convenience, variety, and cost. Obviously, from the convenience of your home and from your office, you can order from a variety of restaurants, from pizza places to Italian places, to Ugandan food places, to Indian, Chinese, and obviously it finds in the convenience of your house or your office. And you pay that, you get that at the same cost as you would at the restaurant. So I like to say that we offer convenience, variety, and good cost. Which is why we've been able to do very well in Kampala. But also, I think, we offer very practical solutions to Kampala problems. Traffic, waiting in line, and traffic jam, and having to send a border, and obviously the lack of non-standardized e-commerce, whereby with Hello Food the prices are standard, the delivery is standard, and so we offer you a standardized exchange, but also we solve Kampala problems of traffic and waiting in lines, and so it's a big package, and I think that's why we've been able to do well.
What's the average time for a meal to get to a destination? If you and I ordered a meal right here where we sat at Mawanda Road from, say, a restaurant in Bugolobi, for instance, what's the turnaround time for that meal to get to us?
So I think our average delivery time in Kampala is 47 minutes. That's the average time we deliver food in Kampala, 47 minutes. We guarantee 60 minutes delivery in all the places we work in. So if we cannot bring you food in 60 minutes, then we wouldn't deliver to you. Which means that there are some areas, for example, if you live in Ntinda and you need to order food from Munyonyo, then we will say, okay, that's too far. We won't be able to guarantee our delivery of 60 minutes. That we limit how far you can order from. So for most of Kampala, we can deliver within 1 hour, but our average delivery time is 45 minutes. If you are ordering from Bugolobi to Mawanda Road, it should take you about 52 minutes.
Well, your business, on all the signposts that I see, it says hellofood.ug. That gives me the impression that you run online business. You mentioned that you have an app as well. In a country like ours, which is still developing in terms of internet penetration and usage, what are some of the challenges you've faced with doing an online business?
Well, the challenge of doing an online business in Kampala is that the internet is very expensive, especially for a company that relies on their business being done online. And it's also not stable. It's highly fluctuates, so you find peak times it's slowing down. So internet is a big issue. More uniquely to Hello Food is the fact that Kampala is not very well mapped, and many places are not don't have physical addresses. As if many of our customers or some of our customers are not able to give us precise directions to where they are. But the good thing is that we have very good drivers who know the city very well, and now we don't have an issue of directions. We have people telling us, come to Mbuya behind this tree, and we will find you. I think as long as you tell us any kind of directions, we will get to you. A mango tree is good enough.
So I'm guessing over time you've managed to build a map through the experience of your drivers who now know pretty much where all the locations within the city are.
Yes, so once we come to you one time, we will ping you. We have a software called VWAC that we use. And so if I deliver to you today, tomorrow I don't need to ask where you live again. We will ping that in the system. And so next time you order again, we know exactly where to go. And so thereby, and also all your neighbors as well will be a beneficiary of that as well. So once we deliver to you, then we know you, we save you in our system. And so we have a big database now of saved addresses, which means that for many of our customers, delivering to them is as easy as, going to the next street.
And how do I actually utilize this service? I go to your website. Do I have a place where I type in my name, email, location? What information do you get from me? And then how do I make the payment? Do I use mobile money through the web and app platform? Do I pay cash upon delivery? How does it work?
So you can either go to www.hellofood.ug to use the website or to order food. Also, you could download the free app. It's free on both Android, Windows, and iOS. And once you have the app or you go to the website, you look at all these restaurants in Kampala or Entebbe. And then you select the item on the menu you want to order. And then after that, you give us your address of where you live, plus your phone number. And then you tell us how you want to pay us. You can pay either cash on delivery, or you could do mobile money, MTN mobile money. And so you have and in a few months, actually, we're getting also, you'll be able to pay with Visa and MasterCard. So we'll have an option of cash on delivery, MTN mobile money, and soon Visa and MasterCard available as well online. What's
the biggest lesson you've learned doing an online business, particularly in a country like Uganda?
The biggest lesson I've learned has been the Kampala is ready for an e-commerce boom. I think, this city is ready for online business. As you can see with the success of Hello Food and other online companies like, Lamudi and Kaimu, people are very curious. Kampalans are very, very curious people, and people are ready to buy and sell online. And this is something that I did not expect. You're looking at, in terms of business, Kampala is doing as well as Nairobi, as well as many other places like Lagos. So we are up there doing as good as the big boys. And so for me, the biggest lesson is that e-commerce is not a business of the future anymore. It is a business of now. And online business is a big part of the Ugandan economy. And if you asked me this 3 years ago, I would have said, no, we are still 10 years behind. We're still 10 years away. But to my surprise and to my delight as well, is that we have a very high mobile phone penetration. We're getting a higher and higher internet penetration. And this is just the beginning. This is just the only tip of the iceberg. Hello Food has just scratched the surface. We've only reached very, very small base of our target market. And this applies to many other online businesses. I think this country is ripe for that. And if we continue to build our telecommunications infrastructure, and I think the government has plans to do that, and the private sector as well has plans to do that. So clearly, we are at, I would say, where the US was in 1998, whereby all these things were, shaping up, and then they took off 2001 and beyond. And I think that we are getting to that point. And I suspect once we get to around 2020, e-commerce will be the go-to way to make business.
And how old or young is Hello Food? How long have you been in business?
We've been in business for 1 year and 6 months now. So we haven't been here for too long, and it's been 1 year and 6 months. So since we opened in Kampala, we have spread to Entebbe, and soon we'll be opening up in Jinja, and hopefully Mbali after that, and Fort Porto and Barra in the coming months and years.
And I would imagine in a business like yours, you shook up the industry. I'm guessing it was not exactly easy to convince someone to use your service versus, say, walking directly to the restaurant and doing what was the norm. So how did you build the momentum of getting people to genuinely trust that you will deliver the food in that period of time and getting numbers onto your system? How did you go through that?
I think our business was, as you said, was changing behavior, was changing how people buy and sell. So our first challenge was to convince restaurants that actually the delivery is a big part of your business. Many of the restaurants did not even know that actually by investing money or doing delivery, you can make a lot of revenue out of it. So the challenge was to convince restaurants that actually this is a big part of your business, can be a big part of your business, and getting them on board to partner with us. Once we got that, the challenge was to convince Ugandans, the people in Kampala, that buying food online, buying things online is safe. There's no shadiness. It's not a scam. That you can pay cash on delivery. So you pay after you receive the item. And obviously the quality is good. The packaging is great. And which is why Hello Food is not a restaurant, obviously. Hello Food doesn't make food. We're just a middleman between the restaurant and the customers. So these customers are ordering from the same places they eat from. So the same place you eat from at lunch, once you go home, you can order from there. So in that case, it was not a tough sell because many of these brands, many of these restaurants were already known. They had big customer bases in Uganda. Because obviously you can't be a restaurant that's open if you don't have customers. So we used these existing restaurants and the existing relationships with the customers, and we gave both sides, both the restaurant and the customer, a platform for those to sell for the restaurant perspective, and then to buy for the customer perspective. So we became the marketplace for these people. And if you look at it this way, it's not a tough sell.
You're basically selling convenience.
Convenience indeed. And we're offering a platform. I think that, people don't realize actually, our job is to give a platform. We do marketing for these restaurants to reach customers who didn't know about them. So if you say you have a Luwombo place in Buglobi, and I live in Kamwacha, I don't know. I've never been to your Luwombo place. But on Hello Food, you can look all the restaurants, what they sell. So I'm giving a Luwombo restaurant from Buglobi a chance to sell food in Kamwacha. So the platform to be on that marketing place, and obviously we invest a lot of money to do this. So we invest money in outdoor, radio, and soon TV. And so we try to work for our restaurants to make sure they get the orders they need and they can grow with us. Because obviously if they don't get orders, then we don't make any money and they don't make any money. So it's a lose-lose. But in our case now, we work hard for the restaurants to make sure that our customers are able to see them. They're able to differentiate what's a good restaurant, what's not a good restaurant. And we allow the customer to choose. We don't choose for them. We just give them a platform. And the customer decides which one they want to pick from. And if they try a restaurant and they don't like the quality, then there's another 149 restaurants to choose from. And so people vote with their wallets. And so that's why we tell our restaurants that people decide. And it's almost like a democracy of food on Hello Food.
And I think with your business model, over time with the data you collect, let's say, for instance, there's an area where for some reason, majority of the people there seem to buy food from a particular restaurant. In the long term, that kind of information might be helpful for someone who wants to start a restaurant chain, because then they will know that their quality or service is popular in this area as opposed to that area, and so on and so forth.
That's true. And on top of doing marketing for restaurants, we also give them data. We give them data of where their food goes, who buys their food, what kind of, there's young professionals, and there's older people, or there's middle class. Are they delivering to offices or to the houses? So we give them data about what time of the day, which days are the busiest, what kind of food people order on which days. So our restaurants get a lot of data they use to plan better for capacity planning. And obviously, I think it could be used very well for expansion plans. Because if you know that I'm in Bugalobi and my pizza's going to Myenga or my pizza's going to Bukoto, and then I said, maybe I could open up a branch in Bukoto because there's a big demand for pizza in Bukoto. So definitely, I think it can be used for a lot of things. I think even for academics, knowing, I'm out of academics now, but when I go back, I think this is good data to really value about what people eat, why they eat that. Why do people eat on a Sunday? Why do they eat it on Sunday and not Saturday? And for me, that's exciting data that we have.
And the age range is obviously what age do people eat what? Or you have all that.
Exactly, and there's also the gender gap as well. What do women order? And my friends used to joke around with me that you could tell when people have been out on hangover when you order on Hello Food on a Saturday morning and you order for Sprite at 9 a.m. on a Saturday or a big water, then you know that it's you've been out on for the weekend.
Right. You've been at Hello Food for quite some time now. Are there any cool or remarkable stories that you can share with us?
Oh boy, yeah. In Hello Food, you think you've seen it all. We've seen some of the craziest and funniest description of an address. Reach this tree, turn around on this tree, and behind this strip club. And then my favorite one has been people who are trying out the service and they don't think it works. They think that maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it's it's a scam. And then it works, and then we knock on the door. And they're shocked, like, oh my goodness, I was just kidding around, and it works. Another one that my drivers always love to get is when it's a birthday for someone's girlfriend or someone's wife, and they want breakfast delivered in bed. And so imagine these drivers, how they feel to get to a house, and they have to, it's always insane when,
What's the most common question you get asked as someone who works in Hello Food?
The most common question is, are you a restaurant? That's the most common. Are you a restaurant? And the other one is, do you own all these restaurants in Kampala? And all the 150 restaurants you work with. It's another one I get, whether we own the restaurants. Another one is, how do you make money? Is another big one. How do you make money? How do you make your revenue? Because you say you're charging the same price as the restaurant. How do you make your revenue?
And how do you make revenue?
Good question. We make revenue because we charge restaurants a commission. So for every order that comes through the Hello Food platform, we charge the restaurant a commission. But the customer pays the same price as they would pay in the restaurant.
So working for a company called Hello Food, I would imagine you've eaten all kinds of food. So having tested all the variety in Kampala, what would you say is your favorite meal or kind of food?
People actually think that I eat a lot. And they think I must be a big guy with a big stomach, as you can see.
I was disappointed when I met you.
I'm not a big guy yet. And I eat a lot. I've tried most of the restaurants in Hello Food. It's a part of my job. I would like to know not just how the food quality is like, but also I like to see the packaging of the restaurant. I like to see how the delivery process is like. Are they going to pick up the phone in time? So I end up trying most of the restaurants. And we have a lot of very good options on Hello Food, from Luombo and I like all this. I like Luombo, I like pizza, I like a good salad, I like a good sandwich. I love the good Thai food, a good pad Thai, a good curry, a good Indian curry. I like a good Chinese as well. But I'd say my favorite is Ethiopian food. Oh. And I think that Ethiopian food is absolutely delicious. And they have this sourdough thing called injera. It's almost like kalo, if you know kalo. Almost like kalo, but it's thinner, and it comes from more of like a wheat that only grows in Eritrea and Ethiopia, and maybe Somalia as well. And you use this and you dip it in several dishes. Meat from goat meat to chicken to fish to variety of vegetables. So they end up doing about 7 different sauces poured on top of this. And the whole family digs in and eats in, and it's delicious. It's a little spicy, but it's good. It's very well done. And for me, I like it mainly because the injera is served in a family fashion. That even if you order to your office, you're forced to share with your colleague, you're forced to share with your wife at the house, or your friend, or your girlfriend, or boyfriend. And so for me, that community nature of it is exciting for me.
If you had a time machine, so basically, if you could go back in time and meet yourself as an 18-year-old man, what book would you give yourself, knowing what you know now, and what movie would you recommend for yourself to watch that is probably coming out between then and now?
I would say, when I was 18, a few things happened. Hurricane Katrina happened in the US. That's when YouTube came out. YouTube came out when I was 18. And maybe I would say that I would have jumped on the bandwagon much sooner. I would have perhaps not gone to university and just go into high tech and go into online business then. Also, I believe it was a year of a lot of historical moments. I think Pope John Paul died that same year as well. If I would go back then, I would tell myself, there's a book that Fareed Zakaria writes. Fareed Zakaria, also a political scientist, but also works for CNN, writes a book about post-American world, and it's about the relative decline of the U.S. He argues that the U.S. is not declining in reality, but it's the rise of the others, the Brazils, the South Africas, the Philippines, the Indonesia, the Ethiopias. So the U.S. is not declining, but we're seeing the rise of others. So I would not have been scared then, and I think this is the same advice I have today, is that actually it is a time whereby the others are rising, and you have to be that other. You have to rise as well, because if you don't rise, which is the lesson out of this book, is actually that by the U.S. not rising at the same rate as the other countries who are rising, it's declining relatively. And if you don't rise, if you don't jump on what's happening now, if you don't jump on the online business where the world economy is going towards, you are declining. So the rise, your decline is not you declining per se, it's just that others are rising and you're not rising at the same pace, and thereby you're left behind and declining. And for me, it's a lesson now that I have to make sure that I am not declining relative to others, that our company is not declining, that we are rising at a faster pace than others are. And that is a lesson that I would tell myself then, and I think I would try to live by today.
Any movie you'd recommend for yourself?
For then, there was a movie that came out called Hitch with Will Smith.
Yes.
Will Smith, I think it tells you, it was about the dating, trying to help this guy who was really bad at dating, and I thought when I was in university and maybe at work as well that there's no time to date, and then you think that when you are old and you have your own business, you're running your own business, you can have time to date and have a relationship or have a family. No, it's tougher. So I could use a hitch in my life today. If I could go back, I'd say I need a Dr. Hitch in my life to allow me to find that balance. Yeah,
that's given me an idea for a business called Hello Hitch.
That's fantastic. I think I agree. I think Hello Hitch could work. Hello Hitch in Kampala, there's many young professionals like yourself, who work long hours and doing multiple things, from strong journalism to developing a business, that there's no time to do the traditional ways of dating and finding companionship. So maybe Hello Hitch could be the next big hit in Kampala. And as we've spoken about, e-commerce is on the rise. I think, I would not be surprised if Hello Hitch was the new Hello Eat.
Right. Yeah. And if we were to record this next question in a moment in time, what advice would you send to yourself in the future if you were to record something you would value, that you would listen to and reflect on? What would it be?
I'd say that remember to love and to be happy, because the world is tough. It's going to get tougher, and life becomes shorter the longer you live. And you have to decide to be happy. And I think when you're much younger, you think there's an eternity. I hope that as I live my life, that I will always remember to make it a point to be happy. And to realize that actually the time we are in the process of, this might sound morbid, but we're in the process of dying. When you're born, your process to die begins. And my hope is that, and it's a challenge for me now, is to make sure that the challenges, the ambitions that we have do not keep us from being happy and from being content. Striving for success should not come at the expense of now. And I think many times for me it is at the expense of now. I hope that when I fast forward 20 years from now, I can listen to this interview and say, in those 20 years from now, I strived to be happy and I strive to live for now, not just for the future, which is important.
The final question, if the tables were turned today, so basically if you were the host of this show and I was your guest, what's the one question you'd ask me?
Oof. This is why I chose this business and you in that business. you are obviously a good interviewer and journalist, and I'd like to stay running a business, developing a business. But if I was in your shoes and I was interviewing you, I would ask you very, I don't know, maybe it's deep, maybe not too deep, but I would say, what drives you? So if you could, answer that. I'm the journalist now. What drives you, Daudi?
Well, I think seeing change in other people, doing something that I know can influence other people, not just immediately near me, but anywhere in the world. That's why I chose to have a business online. And I started this business because I was inspired by someone doing something similar. It was a recording, an audio recording I listened to off the internet over and over again by someone interviewing entrepreneurs who had very inspiring stories and were very successful and happy and content with their lives. And that made me think, it's not very difficult to do the same thing. Why not start something that can, in the long run, have an impact on people? A recording that you can have that will be there even after you're gone, something that can impact people long after. And it's something that I wanted to do before I passed on, which is why I do what I do, which is why I meet people like yourself who are running unique businesses and asking them questions about how they run the business and getting to probe a bit as to who these people are. That way when I post these interviews, people won't just, someone who listens to this interview will not just think of Hello Food as that banner they saw on the side road. Ron will enter their mind. They'll think about Ron. Things like we discussed about Hitch will come up, happiness and joy, all those details wrapped in just a simple interview that's about half an hour. And so by dropping many of these over the internet over a period of time and knowing the impact they can have, if even just one person can do something positive in their lives or change their life because of what I'm doing, then my mission is complete.
Fantastic. And also I'd say, thank you for giving space for our voices, people like us who, it's to be heard and to share. And I think it's definitely an honor to talk to you. And thank you for coming by to discuss this.
No, the pleasure is mine. Anyone with the name food, I am always attracted to their business.
I wish we made food in the house here. I would serve you with some food, but...
Well, finally, how can people learn more about Hello Food, be it on social media or a website? How can they get in touch?
The best way to learn is to go to our website, which is www.hellofood.ug, or you can go to your Apple Store or your Android Store, Windows Store, and search for Hello Food. When it come up, it's a free app, free to use everywhere, and also try out the service. I think try out, and it's a cash on delivery. And there's no pressure. Tell us if you like it or not. And I tell you like it because thousands of people in Kampala are loving it and using it every day. And so please try Hello Food. And I am sure you'll be impressed by the work that people are doing, the restaurants, the drivers, and the customer service team. I think we give excellent customer service with an excellent team here in Kampala. And I'm very sure you'll be happy with the product and you'll come back and use this again.
Thank you so much for your time, Ron. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, and we wish you the very best with Hello Food.
Thank you, Dad. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Business Mike today. And if you'd like to listen to more episodes just like this one, simply go to businessmike.com. I would love to hear from you. So if you've got any questions or suggestions about the show, simply drop me an email at daudi@businessmike.com. Thanks again for listening, and until next Monday, take care.
Like girls, they like me. They look so good and they say, MG, want you to be the one and my only. I wanna be faithful, but I can't keep my hands out the cookie jar. My hands can't keep my hands. My hands, can't keep my hands. My hands, can't keep my hands out the cookie jar.
And there you have it. I tried my best. I went to Cookie Anonymous. I got some failure. I can't seem to keep my damn hands out the cookie jar, but it is what it is.